Welcome to the show. My name is Bhavya Malhotra and I am joined by Lt Col Anirban Das, a former army officer and now a senior director at Delhivery, handling integrated logistic provider. His task is to protect the value in the network, which spans about 18,850 plus pin codes, with more than 50 plus sort centers. So, Anirban sir, what is the simplest way to describe your day job without sounding like a job title?
Well, as you just mentioned, it is to protect value, right? There is a value which gets into the system, and my day-to-day job is to protect that value, that there is no leakage of that particular value which is being generated, and with the entire huge network of delivery, as you mentioned. So that's exactly what I do. That's my day-to-day job. Probably a little bit of prediction based on the previous incidences and responses which has happened, and that gives us the leeway to first of all predict and then plug the gap if there are any.
So, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, we have 18,000 plus pin codes and we are still growing.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost 95 to 96% of the entire pin codes of India are covered, barring a few.
That's a really great thing because logistics in the age of e-commerce is very critical, I say. So, sir, what's one operational habit from your first career, from your army days, that still runs your day up till now?
Situational awareness. Once if I talk about situational awareness, it is something which you had to had it in the army, right? So all operational decisions you had to be kind of situationally very aware that where you are, what can occur, and if something occurs, what would be your next step. And that probably has translated well into the my day-to-day functioning in delivery as well.
I see. So it's quite a good synergy between from army to delivery.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the unglamorous stuff, like what actually saves money, say governance, controls, or revenue leakage within the mid network. So in one of your posts, you have written that most supply chain losses aren't hidden but tolerated. So what makes the losses invisible, and how do you make them visible?
Okay, I mean that sounds like that resonates with my. If you mentioned, I mean, of course, one of my posts, it was an kind of an afterthought, and what I meant and what I still mean. When a system scales up in any system, in a e-commerce or a logistics system, when it's scaling up to such a huge entity, there are very minuscule leakages which are there. So if it is not checked, if it is not found, if it is not stopped, probably it has the potential to become a larger cumulative loss. Or and once it becomes a cumulative loss, probably these smaller parts, the smaller ones, when it becomes a whole, these smaller ones becomes a habit. So that is where behaviorally we should be in a position to stop that, because if you see the cumulative total, it is a huge total. And once somebody starts seeing that, people get to know the hang of it, and then nobody would like to have that. So that's something which is really
It's better to be safe than sorry, I'll say.
Yeah,
in many areas.
Yeah. So that's what when you said that it should not, it never should become a habit, that the small leakages getting into it, and it's once in the whole system, it is one here, one there, one there. But if you add it totally, it becomes a lot. So that's where which is alarming and which should be stopped.
So I see you have a very calm personality, like all veterans, and like veterans are known for calm under pressure. So, how has this calm helped and actually hurt as well in the rapidly growing tech company, knowing Delhivery is a logistics firm, but it is run by a tech backend? So, when did the composure make the difference between escalation and resolution?
Sorry, escalation and resolution.
Was there a time when fast moving mattered more than staying calm? To be very
Okay.
specific.
In a situation, in a position like today, and in a company like Delhivery, pace is, or not only Delhivery, in any e-commerce background or any such logistics, today's logistics, pace is of utmost importance, right? But only pace, probably without much of a process, if I may say, then pace becomes hyped. And in the long run, there is a possibility of the system to break.
Yes.
So there has to be a synergy, there has to be a balance between the pace as well as the process. So if your processes are stable, if you have a phenomenally robust and improved process in place, automatically you have the pace. Processes are in place, you automatically have the pace, which of course is very, very important, very utmost important, right? So that's where the calmness comes in. So you have to be calm to get that blend of pace as well as process.
A matter of three P's: people, process, and pace.
Yeah.
So, in army, usually it's said that you worry about the threats that you can't see. In logistics, the threats are often the same. And what are your thoughts on this sentence which I just said? Trying to link between army and the logistics part.
Okay. See, ambiguity is the thing which I would talk about. In army, you have a lot of drills set. As I said, the processes are set, so that you prepare, you practice, you prepare, you practice every time to come to a situation where you can handle any sorts of ambiguous decision or any kind of breakdown in the system. So it is that way. It is resilience, resilient. Similarly, in the logistics or in anywhere, you only difference probably I would say here, you can probably with the vast amount of data which you have, you can see, you can, if you cannot exactly see, at least you can generally time it. You know that there would be a fluctuation here, there would be a fluctuation there. Of course, there are aberrations like extreme times, for example, what we were discussing there during the COVID, or probably the geopolitical situations rising today, and what exactly and how it is going to hit. These are certain unknown parameters. But apart from that, you generally are there with the trends, you know what it is going to be like, or you are at least prepared, and you can probably foresee a little bit of it. So that's where the difference lies, but basically DNA wise, everything remains the same.
It's a bit similar. Yeah. So with the quick commerce and the gig economy, which model is expanding up to 40% annually actually. So what does resilient supply chain leadership mean over the next few years according to you?
It has to be again comfort with ambiguity, if I may call it, because there you see around, there are so many ifs and buts. The supply chain lines, we were hearing last, a gentleman just speaking there, one of the companies, they had the Hormuz port right now, the ship which is there carrying what $22 million shipments, and with all technologies, with everything there, you are still clueless about what is happening.
Yes.
Right. So that's the state. So we were tracking it. We were like the company was tracking it. There were traceability was there. The data sets were there. Everything was there. Everything was there. But somehow something happened which was beyond control. So now that amount of ambiguity. With a leader who is coming to be, he has to be technically too sound, because technology has come into our aid in a lot way. The AI is moving in a phenomenal way as far as the decision making is concerned, or gathering, or helping you in gathering or taking quick decision based on the data. And in that kind of a scenario, I still believe that there has to be a lot of potential to work in an ambiguous kind of a scenario where things would not exactly be always an A, B, or C.
Of course, there is no plug and play, and there are no playbooks in the age of AI as of now, we can say. So, coming on the supply chain part again. So, what one metric most operators overrate, and what is the one metric that most of us underrate, and what's the biggest gap that you see between the strategy decks and reality?
My take, from my lens,
Yes.
we discussed this, right? Speed. You only asked me, right? The great things which we need to do is speed, right? Pace, whatever you call it. So that, I think, is, I won't say it is overrated. It is a requirement, but only pace at the cost of other factors is not a, a fully robust or a viable solution. So pace is something which probably I would say it is slightly overrated, and underrated. Yes, the processes. Again, we had a similar, just a couple of minutes back, we had the similar questions. If the processes are not set, if the processes are not proper, you will, as it is, not have pace. So pace, which is otherwise very overrated, yeah, we have to, send it in a particular time frame. Your timelines, your hourly timelines, matrices, etc., are too often, profaned, this thing. Whereas at the back end, if you see, the robustness of the processes are not so talked about. So as far as my lenses are concerned, I feel the processes are underrated, if I may call it. Probably too many questions from here and there, but then that's my this thing. And over it is probably the speed.
So, on the topic of speed, we have a short game prepared for you, which is basically one word drill. You will have 10 seconds to answer a question, but in just one word. So, let me know once you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah. So, real discipline to you looks like.
Discipline.
And in operations, one trait that you trust the most is.
Integrity.
A resilient leader must always protect.
Process.
In a crisis situation, your default operating model is.
Again, process.
So, let's say the most overrated word in a supply chain corporate leadership, according to you.
If you redraft the question once again.
So, the most overrated word in the corporate leadership. Word or jargon?
Okay. Control.
Control. And my favorite one. Speed without control is.
Doom.
Doom. Your leadership style in one word.
Disciplined.
Anirban sir, like for the listeners, like let's say a young manager wants to become exceptional in a supply chain industry. What is your advice to them?
See, again, we probably talked about it a few times, like few hours back. I believe it has to be a ground reality. It's you want me to ask in a one word?
No, it's up to you. It's your advice to the listeners and the future leaders.
Right. It is, one has to be a grounded person. Operations has to start from ground. Dashboards and what is exactly happening on ground has got a lot of, I won't say gap, but there is definitely a difference to match, to catch up. So if you're only into dashboards, not into groundwork, or if you're into only ground and not into dashboards, they will not match. So a guy who is getting into the operations part, for a young leader, he has to start from the scratch, that is exactly from the ground. What exactly he has to observe, what exactly is happening around him on ground, and thereafter probably move on and see, and slightly up his ante to see what things are. But the start point is observe the ground, what is happening, how things are moving, what exactly is happening, and then come to the matrices.
It's a lovely answer, and I hope our listeners would actually make the best out of this podcast. Raman sir, it was actually a pleasure talking to you, and let's take a
Thanks. Thank you so much.